Hello and welcome. I'm Teary Eyes Anderson with the quotes. Today we look at one of the masters of comedy, Charlie Chaplin. Here we're going to learn about the early comic strip based on his little tramp character. The comic strip, Charlie Chaplin's Comic Capers, ran from March 29, 1915 to July 15, 1916 as a daily comic. It was also a Sunday comic strip which lasted until September 16, 1917. It was created by Stuart Wallace Carothers for the Chicago Herald. It was copyrighted by James Keeley, owner of the newspaper, and distributed to other newspapers through the Keeley Handy Syndicate, the company he formed with Jameson Jam Handy. The comic strip acknowledged that Charlie Chaplin was an actor, as well as depicted him at the studio, but the stories also followed him as an illustrated character, and even the artist at the time gets involved in the story. After the original author-illustrator died in October 1915, the comic was continued for a few months by uncredited writers-illustrators, simply known by pseudonyms Warren&Ramsey. In February of 1916, Elzie Crisler Segar, E.C. Segar, creator of Popeye, began working on the strip and continued until its end. The comics were published by arrangement with E.C. Company, which was the studio Chaplin was working for in 1915, but had since stopped working for them a year later. It is not known how many comics were published during the lifespan of the comic, but I was able to find 342 of the comics and put them in an Internet Archive collection. Many of the comics were gathered together and released in 5 best-of collections. 4 of them were presented as coloring/painting books. The 5th book reprinted only 8 of the Sunday comics, which were in full color. Today we take a look at the first book in the series, and the 3 known versions of it, each with slightly different contents. Then, if possible, we will compare the book versions to the ones that were printed in some newspapers. Sadly, because of the book's coloring book style paper, the copyright information is barely readable. Sometimes the title would be added or changed, the images would be cropped or expanded. Sometimes Charlie's name would be spelt with an EY instead of an IE. There didn't seem to be one standard held throughout the comics. Sit back and enjoy these forgotten comic capers of Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin's Comic Capers, Series 1. Copyright 1917 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with E.C. Company. Published by M.A. Donahue and Company, Chicago, number 315. Untitled. Gee, I got insomnia. I wish I had a book or a newspaper. Ship's Magazine. Not very exciting reading, but maybe. It's better than nothing. Boom. Gosh, I must have disturbed some guy who was trying to read. Unsigned. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. Another version of this comic is titled, Charlie Decides He Wants to Read. Ship's Magazine was very exciting. Notice Charlie with an L-E-Y rather than L-I-E. Charlie Chaplin's Comic Capers, Series 1. M.A. Donahue and Company, Chicago. Instructions for little artists. Open your paint box and you will find several colors of paint and various sized brushes. Get a small white plate to mix your colors on. When you have finished painting, wash your brushes thoroughly and put them away. Mixing colors. All shades are made from 3 primary colors, yellow, red, and blue. Green is made by mixing yellow and blue, purple by mixing blue and red, orange by mixing yellow and red. In painting, it is best to begin at the top of the picture, making the sky first. Should you make a hard line, take a clean brush and with clean water, go over the line and absorb the water with a piece of blotting paper. Sit square and upright before you work. Hold your brush firmly, using easy wrist action while applying color to the paper. Copyright 1917, M.A. Donahue and Company. Charlie Chaplin's comic capers. It was the bellhop's fault. Who can go in here? I've got money. Yes, but don't try to stop me. I wouldn't, only. One side, vessel. But listen. A man with money can go anywhere. Certainly, but... Oh yes, business is going on during alterations. Why didn't one of you say that half of the floor had been taken out? Signed, Carothers, 15. An alternate title for this comic appeared in the newspapers. Get thee back, slave. It was the bellhop's fault. This time notice there's no space between the words bell and hop. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley. Noah had nothing on Luke. Luke, did you know that people of today are as wicked as they were in the time of the flood? Is that right? You can't tell. We may have another flood that will cover the earth. It wouldn't surprise me a bit. Even at this moment, the water may be rising. Yes, the wicked shall suffer. Huh? Clank zam, ziz clank, bam clank, pow clank. Say, what you doing? Why, I'm building an ark. Signed ECCR. Copyright 1916 by G. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. Luke makes an easy job difficult. You want a job on my farm, do you? Well, you gotta be educated to work on my farm. Sure, Ezra, we know all about the farm. In fact, we were raised on a reform school. We love the cows and chicks, we do. Well, I'll give you a trial. Go down to the barn and get a basket full of hen eggs. We'll get 'em all right. We gotta act wise and make him believe that we know all about the farm. Nest. Hey, what you doing? Sorting those eggs out into 2 piles. Nest. Half of the eggs will hatch out to be roosters, and you said you wanted hen eggs. Nest. Signed ECCR. Copyright 1916 by G. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic is titled, Charlie looks for a job on the farm. Make an easy job difficult. Just a slight mistake on Luke's part. Yes, I'll be an artist. It's easy money, and all I need is a brush. Luke, go down to the store and get me a camel's hair brush. Understand, a camel's hair brush. Oh, I gotcha. Did you get one? I couldn't get a camel's hair brush, but I got a curly comb for your camel. Signed ECCR. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. There's more than one way to lose $20. Why are your eyes sprinkling, little one? Oh dear, I lost a $20 bill. Oh dear, oh dear. Poor little feller. That's too bad, too bad. Where'd you lose it? Yeah, where'd you lost it? Oh me, oh my. I lost it right around the corner. Exit stuff. Huh? I don't see no $20 bill. Neither do I. You huge cheesehead. I loosed it around the corner in a poker game. A thought bubble with the $20 bill sprouting wings and flying away. Honest, officer, I wasn't doing a thing to that car when it hit me. Signed ECCR. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charlie and Friends Sympathize with Fellow Citizen. More than one way to lose $20. It's a gay life down on the farm. I see you've been milking. Here's 2 bits. Go into the shed and kid that little shrimp who's trying to milk. When that Reuben starts kidding Luke, won't that little tyke be sore? What you trying to do, milk? You city boobs can't make water run downhill. Milk, milk. Pow! Milk. Signed ECCR. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley puts up a job on Luke. Gay life down on the farm. And that made it a lot worse. Hail! Hail! Huh? I'm the vice constable. What's the trouble here? Oh, officer, this big brute kissed me. Oh, he ought to be shot, the villain. We'll give him worse than that. We'll give him 30 days. But, officer, I saw you kiss that girl yourself yesterday. That's what makes it so serious. I caught this fella impersonating an officer. What? Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Hears Cries for Assistance. A very serious charge. Notice in the first panel, in the newspaper version, there's only one help. Filbert is glad Charley didn't begin proposing. I hope that steam cabinet works all right. I'm certainly too fat. Don't worry, it's guaranteed to take off a pound a minute. I'll be back in 20 minutes and let you out. Gee whiz, I feel like a steamed mackerel. Steam weight reducer. Ahem, ahem. Ahem, ahem. 1.5 hours later. How long are you going to be here, Mr. Chaplin? I'll tell you, Filbert and I thought... Filbert! Whew, that reminds me. Am I any thinner, Charley? A little bit. Filbert. A little bit. Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Thinks Well of Steam Cabinet. Good Charley didn't propose. Well, he couldn't think of it. You see, I'm flat, so when I say let me pay the check, you say I can't think of it. All right? Now let's rehearse it once more. Let me pay the check. I can't think of it. This has been a delightful luncheon. Bill, $11.95. Let me pay the check. Let me pay the check. You'll have to. I know you told me what to say, but I can't think of it. Signed, Carothers. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Rehearsing Their Little Act. Well, he couldn't think of it. Untitled. Charley sees a pretty girl and follows her. A policeman sees Charley and follows him. Charley follows the girl to a building. From out of the building, a strong man steps bearing his fist. The man swings his fist at Charley, but Charley ducks, and the man hits the cop. The cop begins clubbing the man's head, while Charley hops away. Unsigned. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Me for Her, She Sure is a Peach. For once a policeman helped Charley. Notice in the first panel, policeman has been removed in the newspaper version. Richer than ever. What if it did clean my kick to buy this little old bus? This is living. Car gone, money gone, so why live? Quack. Huh? Signed, Carothers, 15. There is no copyright information on this version of the comic. An alternate version of this comic has the title, This is the Lie, Richer Than Ever. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley. He leads in silent drama today. Charley is being chased by a policeman. Charley climbs into a tube. Whiz! The policeman dives after him. In the audience, in the corner of the panel, a person holds up a flag. They count. Charley comes out of the tube. Huh? The police officer is stuck inside the tube. The person in the audience waves a sign again. Charley tips the tube on its side and then walks away whistling. Down near the tube, you can see the audience members with the flag still showing. Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with the S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic is titled, Charley starts off on stern chase. Charley's quick wit saves him. In making the bargain, he forgot Luke. Wah, blub, you big boob, you beat me out of my girl Molly. Doggone you. God dang you, come here, you can't steal my girl. Not as long as my name is Reuben Barley Tossel. But listen, let's compromise. Now listen, you give me your month's wages, and I'll let you have Molly. Well, here it is, $10.25. Now you gotta quit pestering my sweetheart. Sure, I'll leave her alone. What? Yes, Luke, the day is simply beautiful. Signed, Elzie Crisler. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic is titled, Charley is Some Heartbreaker. He Forgot Luke. Notice in the newspaper version, E.C. Seeger's signature has been removed. It didn't take him long to stop the music. So you want to be a detective and find things, huh? Yeah, I'd like to find square meal as my first job. You come with me. I've got a job that takes a good detective to handle. If you make good, I'll hire you. In the shade of the old apple tree. See that desperate character? He whistles all the time and disturbs the other prisoners. Nobody can make him quit. Leave it to me, Chief. Say, are you going to stop whistling or ain't ya? No, sir. Absolutely not. Then get out. Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of the comic is titled, Charley admits he wants to be a sleuth. Charley stops the whistling. There's always two ways of looking at a thing. Cafeteria. Here's like a cafeteria check for 16 cents. I'll eat a 50-cent meal and then pay the cashier this check. Checker. That's 52 cents. Here's your check. If everybody had an appetite like mine, you'd make a lot of money. That was a fine meal. Ooh, you 16-cent check. Cashier. Are you sure that's the right check? It looks kind of funny. Certainly that's the check I got. That's the check I paid. All right, give me the 91 cents. Charley thinking, 16 upside down, 91. Unsigned, copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. A alternate version of this comic is titled, Charley Sure His Luck is Changing. Charley misread the check. Notice in the newspaper version, the second panel has a lot more text. I'm so glad I found that 16-cent check. Untitled. Charley walking up an inclined hill, puffing and puffing. Charley sees a man pulling the cart. Charley sits on the cart and begins whistling. Charley lays down. The owner of the cart then notices him and raises his hands in surprise. Huh? The cart races downhill with Charley on top of it. Huh? Ah. The cart owner chases it. Unsigned. Copyrighted 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with the S&A Company. Untitled here, but also titled, Charley climbing footsore and weary. Charley got a free ride, almost, with the introductory panel cropped. Luke was on the safe side. Whoosh, whoosh. Boing, boing, boing. Oh, Luke. Go down to the grocery and get a dozen eggs for our dinner, and be sure there are no chickens in them. Charley begins swinging his cane while waiting for Luke to return. I got 'em all right, and I'm sure there's no chickens in them, cuz I got duck eggs. Ugh. Signed ECCR. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. He sent some postcards to the folks at home. After eating hot tamales with red pepper. Fire! Drink, Charley, drink. You would like it here. The food is hot stuff. I'd give $1,000 for a real American nickel. Money is plentiful in Mexico. In fact, we have it to burn. Charley and Luke fight many flies. Today we are slaughtering the enemy by the thousands. Oh, Mog. Yes, it is a perfectly lovely day. We are learning the language rapidly. Who's a stick in the mud? We are getting stuck on this country. Signed ECCR. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. Too bad Luke wasn't invited. Come on in, boys. We got a fried chicken dinner, cooked by my daughter. Nothing doing for you, shrimp. Go and eat with the hired help. Won't Luke be jealous when I tell him about this? My daughter Molly can cook a scrumptious chicken dinner. I wonder what's keeping Molly. We've been waiting a half an hour now. Let's look into the kitchen and see what's keeping Molly. If you can't find anything else, I could eat a stove lid. Remember, this was 8 years before Charlie Chaplin's film The Gold Rush, when he famously ate a shoe. Don't be afraid to take the last piece, Mr. Luke. What? What? Yes, it's a gay life in the city. We have automobiles and free lunches. Signed ECCR. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley is real cruel to Luke. Luke not so unlucky. Notice in the newspaper version, Segar's signature has been removed. However, the run sharpened his appetite. Not only did the thief steal a quart of my best jam, but he deliberately treaded 3 luscious cabbages underfoot. Our police dog will find him, don't worry. He's picking up the trail now. Sniff, sniff. Beats all how he can follow a scent like that. Roof, roof. Chicken crossing the road. It's lucky they have a good man to lead him. That jam pirate didn't think he had us on his trail when he walked all over that poor woman's cabbages. Yipe, yipe, yipe. Charley stops outside of a restaurant. The dog runs in. Special today, corned beef and cabbage. Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. A alternate version of this comic is titled, Charley has confidence in his police dog. Run sharpened appetite. He got results anyway. Well, Chief, I'm going out to work on my case again. You ought to be making an arrest before long. Charley then goes and sits under a tree. So this is the way you're working on a case. Instead of making arrests, you're sitting under a tree. But Chief, let me explain. I listen for the hens cackling, and then I pinch the eggs. Huh? Here's the case I've been working on now. Look, it's almost full. Ugh. Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of the comic has the title, Up to Charley to Make an Arrest. He got results. Argument against circumstantial evidence. Ah, such a fine gooseberry pie I never made before. Hi, maybe I eat today after all. Well, I can't eat the plate, so I guess I'll have to quit. A policeman comes around the corner and sees Charley with an empty plate. Huh? Huh? Oh. Charley gives the police officer the plate. He then cautiously walks away embarrassed. The woman in the window then looks down at the police officer holding the plate. Charley rushes away quickly. Whoosh! The woman then throws a pitcher, a rolling pin, and a steam iron at the police officer. Clonk thump! Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of the comic has the title, Charley Sees Some Joy in Living. Charley Swipes a Pie. Charley was highly insulted. It's a shame I saw 3 fellows trying to impersonate me this morning. It makes me so sore a fellow can't even get his name in the paper without some boob trying to imitate him. The more I think of it, the madder I get. I'll call Luke and ask him if he has seen any of my impersonators. Oh, Luke, come here. What you want? What? Signed E.C. Segar. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. He has a great eye for danger. Charley, you're wanted at headquarters. I'm going to give you a new position. All you got to do is to blow the horn, rat-a-tat-tat, when you see danger. Easy. Danger, railroad crossing. Whoa. Rat-a-tat-tat. Charge! Signed E.C. Segar. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Gets a Message from Front. Great eye for danger. Luke has a wonderful system. Hunting Mexican bandits are a cinch. Some class to our togs, eh, Charley? The togs are all right, but I can't get these confounded shoes on. I've tried for 5 hours. Mine was the same way, Charley. I can't get 'em on to save my life. Yeah, mine was the same way when I got 'em. I had to wear 'em 3 days before I could get 'em on. Ugh. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. Signed E.C. Segar. An alternate version of the comic has the title, Charley and Luke Go to Mexico. Luke's Wonderful System. It was a dark conspiracy. We're lucky to get this doctor's outfit for $4.98. We'll coin some kale. Should say we is. Dr. Chaplin, M.D., etc. Doc, I want you to get my hand medicated. Sure, I'll fix you up. Don't forget to tip the nurse. Boss, the cash pot am a small matter with me. A bottle of turpentine. It's gonna cost you a heap, you know. You gotta pay for my experience. Easy money, that are. That's all right, boss. Here's a check for you and you can cash it. Leave it to me to cash it. You are very rich, I betcha. Well, we'll work 'em. When I get the money in the bank. Exit. Charley imagining money flying away. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. Signed E.C. Segar. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Starts in the Medical Profession. It was a dark conspiracy. His help wasn't needed. Oh, Charley. Oh, gee, that's Luke. Maybe a bandit has got him. Charley, come here. What the deuce are you doing in there? Oh, Charley. I'm killing a big snake. How are you killing him? I'm choking him to death. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. Signed ECCR. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charlie Hears a Cry for Help. His help wasn't needed. Oh my, who wouldn't cry over such a loss? Oh dear, my husband swallowed a shoe buttoner. Well, well, too bad. Dr. Chaplin, M.D., etc. Oh dear, boo-hoo, oh dear. Bring in the black bottle, nurse. Oh. What's the matter? Ain't no danger, he'll be all right. Does you want it served? It's only a shoe buttoner I got. Ha! Thump. Clank. Psh. Signed ECCR. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, A Serious Case is Brought Before Dr. Chaplin. Tears Suitable for the Lost. Such a logical little runt. Charlie and Luke walk around a corner. Luke sees a sign. Look, Charlie. Buy one of our automobiles and save half on your gasoline. Gee, I wish we had two of those automobiles. What do you want two for? Then I could save all my gasoline. Signed ECCR. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. Private Luke finds a bear dog. While we're off duty today, the sergeant wants us to organize a Mexican bear hunt. But we can't get a bear dog. That's too bad. Private McGook, I hereby order you to go forth and find a bear dog. And if you don't, you might get shot. Well, orders is orders. I'll get one. That was a good joke you pulled on Luke. He'll never find a bear dog. Ha ha ha, I'm a stunner. Oh, Charlie, oh, Sarge, now you can hunt bears for it. Here is your bear dog. Mexican Hairless. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. Signed ECCR. This comic is also titled, Charlie Sadly in Need of Bear Dog. Luke finds a bear dog. He tried to kill him anyway. Good morning, Mr. Gold Rocks. How's your health feeling? I don't feel very well, Doc. My doctor bills go about $1,000 a week. Hey, Charlie, the druggist says he's got to see you quick. Dr. Chaplin, M.D., etc. Huh? Oh, Doc, I'm afraid I made a terrible mistake on your last prescription. Huh? Huh? You pinhead, what did you do? What? Has something terrible happened? Oh, no, but the man is getting better. Crash! What? Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. Signed ECCR. An alternate version of this comic has the title, A Visitor While Charley Talks to Patient. He tried to kill him anyway. In the newspaper version, the second panel of the comic has extra text. Huh? I see why my doctor bill's so big. This train has a pacemaker. Say, if you know what's healthy for you, you'll leave this town. Do you hear me? I hear you. I've been advised to seek a healthier location. Can you tell me how your trains run? Yeah, but don't let on I told you. Something's busted on the engine so they can't stop anymore. Passengers have to jump on as she passes. Huh? The baggage car door will be open. All you have to do is jump in. Say, I've been standing here for about 3 hours. How much longer do I have to wait? Not much longer. There comes the conductor's little dog down the track now. Ugh. Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has a different title. Charley gets a tip to leave town. Train has a pacemaker. Notice that the thought bubble in the first panel is missing. Luke had a modest idea of his knowledge. Luke sitting on a bench reading Webster's dictionary. Charley looks down, pointing. Huh? They looked down and watched Luke. Is you learning how to spell, huh? Is ya? You little rum-dum? Clunk, clunk. Are you trying to absorb spelling into your dough head? I just wanted to see if Webster made any mistakes. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. Signed ECCR. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley amazed at Luke's attitude. Modest idea of his knowledge. In this version, notice in these first two panels it says Webster's Dictionary. Notice that the plant and the person is also missing in the first panel. Luke should have been a lawyer. Say, Charley, I had an argument just now about how to spell needle. I say it's N-E-I-D-L-E. Am I right? Ha ha, you poor shrimp, you're wrong. The idea, N-E-I-D-L-E. Who ever heard of an I in needle? Say, listen. What's the thing you put the thread through? Oh. Signed ECCR. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with the S&E Company. Horseflies are intelligent indeed. Oh, Charley, that are a terrible fly. What kind of fly are that? That's a horsefly, Luke. A horsefly? And what are a horsefly? A horsefly is a fly that buzzes around arses and horses. But this fly must be crazy, Charley. I ain't a horse or an arse. Are I? Charley, are I? Well, you may be able to fool me, but you can't fool a horsefly. Blah. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. Signed ECCR. Although he may not look like a boob. That roughneck on the corner called me a boob. For garbage only. Take a good slant at me, Luke. Do I look like a boob? I guess not. No, Charley, you don't look anything like a boob. But looks is always deceiving. Charley flies up like a rocket and crashes down into a trash can. Funk. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. Signed ECCR. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley prepares to resent an insult. Looks are deceiving. Indeed, Clarence did remember him. Well, if it isn't Clarence, how are you, old top? You have the advantage of me. You don't remember me? Nope. I used to work for you. Camping, woods, lake, bears. I was your guide. Can't recall it. In the olden days when I had to work before I got my millions. Remember you. Say, I'll never forget that day you turned that goat loose on me, and the time you tried to drown me. Them was the good old days. Crunch. Signed, Carothers. No copyright information. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Clarence has a poor memory. Indeed, Clarence did remember him. The newspaper version has a copyright 1915 by J. Keeley. Untitled. Quick, I want 35 cents of your speediest transportation. All right, that'll be 50 cents. Remember, speed's the thing. I'm only 4 saloons ahead of a cop. Say, stop! Huh? It's time for a rest. The horses aren't tired yet. But I am. The bottom dropped out and I've been running all the way. What? Unsigned. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley drives a poor bargain. Charley had some ride. Something did happen to that 1,000. I ain't a guy to be trusted with money. Somebody better take this dollar away from me quick. Pachink. Psst. Gee, this is tough. I gotta drop this bullion before the cops get me. Solid gold, $1. To carry out the joke, I guess I'll have to find out how much it's worth. Pachink. I wouldn't give you a cent over $1,000 for it. Take it or leave it. Ugh. Signed, Carothers. No copyright information. An alternate version of this comic has the title, He Needs a Guardian. He'll learn to expect the unexpected. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley. Untitled. Charley sees a man in the water drowning. He throws a rope down to him and pulls. Then he sees a pretty girl. Ooh. Charley lets go of the rope and tips his hat to the girl. Ooh. Charley then, arm in arm with the girl, walks away, singing. Sploosh! The man and the rope fall back into the water. Unsigned. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley again acts as lifesaver. Charley is easily distracted. He'll soon learn to expect it. Did you ever have a lot of dough? It's an awful strain. I know something will happen to this $1,000. Smash! Excuse me, I'm on my way to the bank. Certainly. I just left there. I'm on my way to South America. Whoosh! I better count it again. Yow! It's 2,000 now. Signed, Carothers. An alternate version of this comic has the title, A Terrific Strain. Something happened to that 1,000. The newspaper version is copyright 1915 by Keeley Handy Syndicate. Untitled. Gee whiz, nothing but water. Water. I'm so doggone sick of water I ain't gonna wash for a month. Why not end it all? I'll soon die from overwork anyhow. Here goes. Charley then sees a pretty girl. Oh, how do you do? Do you live on the ship? I'm the captain's daughter. Who are you? I'm the poor fish who thought he didn't like it here. Whoop. Unsigned. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Tires of Life Aboard Ship. Indefinitely postponed, one suicide. How that boy's luck has changed. I never was miserable in my life. I know something's going to happen to me with all this money. Did you ever have one get you right in the middle of the back? He drops the money down a manhole. Gone, $2,000. Oh, fate, why givest me this cup to drink? Oh, why? Quit throwing junk down this hole. He then kicks the man in the manhole. Oh, very well. Carothers 15. No copyright information. An alternate version of this comic was titled Evil Forebodings. How that boy's luck has changed. The newspaper version is copyrighted 1915 by Keeley Handy Syndicate. Untitled. A man in a top hat offers Charley his choice of swords for a duel. Oh. The man takes off his top hat and puts it on the ground, and then swings his sword at Charley. Charley holds his sword by the blade. Whoa, what? The man stabs Charley in the backside. Yeah! Charley turns around angry and punches him. Whack! Unsigned. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. In an alternate version of this comic, the title is Choose Your Weapon, Charley. This duel business is the limit. Who hasn't had the same experience? Charley notices something on the ground. He steps on it, looks around. It's right under here. He balances his cane on his finger. He drops his hat. He then turns around and looks at his hat. As he picks up his hat, he also picks up a metal object. He looks at it. I'd like to meet the guy that invented a beer bottle top that looks like a quarter. Doing thump. Signed, Carothers, 15. Copyrighted 1915 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, His Luck Has Changed. Who hasn't had the same experience? In this version, the first panel has Charley talking. Things at last are coming my way. I hope no one see me cover up the shiny coin. One version of the newspaper comic strip is copyrighted 1915 by Keeley Handy Syndicate, while another one in the first panel without Charley talking has the copyright 1915 by the Chicago Herald, by arrangement with S&E Company. Untitled. Charley is asleep when he is woken up by a sound. Huh? 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 He looks out the window. He puts his fingers in his ears. He grabs a hold of the side of the window and looks out. Aha! He is then seen throwing a shoe at a cat sitting on a fence. Unsigned. Copyright 1915 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of the comic has the title, Charley's Slumbers Rudely Awakened. Poor old cat wasn't to blame at all. His bankroll still increasing. Do you mean to say I don't know which shell that pea is under? Wouldst wager? By golly, it ain't. You win the money. Now I'll bet what I got left, against all that you've got, that I know where it is. It's a go. The pea. You see it dropping to the ground. It's under the middle one, but don't pick it up. It's not under either of these, is it? No. Well then, it's bound to be under the middle one. The boy is right. Signed, Carothers, 15. An alternate version of this comic has the title, This Sure Is Easy Money. His bankroll is still increasing. Copyright 1915 by J. Cayley. Untitled. A man in a sailor suit is washing the deck. Charley puts one of his feet on the man's back while relaxing. Huh? Huh? Something's going to happen to somebody around here in about 1 minute. The sailor then slips on the soap. Wah! Oh, Cap, that guy Mike has gotten away with our new bucket. Unsigned. Copyright 1915 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Careless Charley Brews Trouble. Something happened, all right. The policeman wasn't very accommodating. Out of the way. I'm on an awfully important errand. Street closed. Boing. I must not stop for anything. Whoa. Golly, I forget what it is. Oh. Officer, I came downtown after something awfully necessary, and I can't remember what. Huh? What are some of the things you have downtown? Ugh. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate title for this comic is Charley is in a Mad Scramble, an unaccommodating cop. In the newspaper version, panel number 3 has slightly different text. Golly, I forget what I want. Untitled. It's kind of rough. Were you ever seasick, Mr. Chaplin? An old tar like me? I should say not. The air is so appetizing. Yeah. Note. Face. A delicate pale green. Charley is seasick. I thought you'd be hungry. I fixed up a nice lunch of pork and beans and salad with olive oil and mince pie. Fine. Huh? Now, tonight for supper, if I'm feeling right, we'll... You ain't gonna feel right. Unsigned. Copyright 1915 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic is the title, Charley Tries to Make a Hit. Those who have been seasick can sympathize. Notice that even the newspaper version mentions that his face is pale green, and it's not just in the coloring book. Oh well, he'll have it tomorrow. Charlie Chaplin while mowing a lawn. Gee, but I'm... He then uses a racket to beat a rug. Wham! N.A. Hurry. Charlie Chaplin washing the floor. After sawing a lot of logs. Finished just in time and the boss ain't here. Here's your dollar, aren't you gonna take it? What's the use? You don't show up until the last picture. Now what chance have I got to spend it? Signed Carothers, 15. An alternate version of the comic has the title, I Need the Money. Oh well, he'll have it tomorrow. In this alternate version, Charlie talks a bit more in the first panel. Gee, but I'm in a hurry to earn that dollar. I'll have a fine time at the movies tonight. In a hurry. Notice how the extended text does not fit well with the other panels, but it does give a better description of the story. Copyrighted 1915 by Keeley Handy Syndicate. Untitled. Oh dear, I'm a-comin'. Well, here I are. Gee whiz, you've been using funny bait for fishing. I'm not fishing. This is a piece of my husband's best trousers, the rest of which are in that cistern. Aw, what's a little thing like a pair of trousers? Huh? I bet when your husband knows it, he'll only laugh. Ha! Knows it? He's wearing 'em. Blah! Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by G. Keeley by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Hears a Female's Cry for Help. It was no laughing matter. And one demonstration was enough. Say, what in the world have you got that birdcage on your head for? Golf. I don't see what that's got to do with golf. Don't you, huh? For... Now do you? Perfectly. Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by G. Keeley by arrangement with S&E Company. This comic was also titled Enlightening Charlie on Golf. One demonstration was enough. Untitled. Charlie stands near Amanda at a construction site. Charlie spots a bucket he wants. Behind him, some boards are on a rope. A man in the background gives an exclamation of lifting. Charlie is raised up along with the boards. His cane hooks onto the bucket of the man near him. Ooh. Charlie and the bucket disappear out of sight. Huh? What? Where? Oh, ooh. The man looks around but can't find it. Then the bucket lands on his head. Charlie also lands on the man, knocking the wind out of him. Ooh. Unsigned. Copyright 1915 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&A Company. In an alternate version of the comic, the man in the background does not have an exclamation point above his head. The background is also missing a cart and a wagon. Charlie and the man are also squished more closer together. It also has the title, Charlie about ready for an uplift. Hard on the workman. It's strange Rastus didn't like the suggestion. A automobile drives by hitting somebody. The man flies through the air. Ah! The driver says, "Look out!" Charlie looks from across the fence. Huh? Say, do you want to get even with that fella? Does I? Man, I'd give 4 bits to have my right fist in his left eye right now. You lay down and let him run over you again. But here's where you have to laugh on him. Huh? You have a tack in your pocket, see? Fine idea, what? Huh? Oh, perfectly grand. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the car removed completely from this first panel. It is also titled, Charlie Witnesses a Catastrophe. Rastus couldn't see it. Untitled. I'm glad I'm off from that ship at last, but if they ever catch me, good night me. Would you mind getting out of my road, officer? I'm running away from a policeman. Oh, cabby, hey! The horse of the cab then starts chasing Charlie. Ah! You ought to know more than to holler hay around a horse. Ah! Unsigned. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of the strip has the title, Charlie in a mad dash from the ship. Charlie on land again with usual results. Luke is so handy on the farm. That little fellow Luke got a raise of 50 cents a week. I'll go hit Ezra for a raise myself. Ezra, can't you give me a raise? I know as much about the farm as that little shrimp Luke. He's a great help on the farm. Yes, sirree, every little thing that needs to be done, he pitches right in and does it. See there, he's keeping the dogs away from the chickens so they can eat in peace. Whoa. Signed E.C. Segar. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic had the title, Charley Jealous of Luke's Raise. Luke handy on the farm. He had the best reasons for quitting. You say you're experienced in the banking business? Oh my, yes. I had a very fine position in the draft department of the Jones and Smith's Bank. You see, I kept a watch on the door so that the cashier wouldn't get a draft on the back of his neck. Wow. They finally got a new storm door to take my place. But I was going to quit anyhow. Those bankers, Smith and Jones, quarreled too much. First it was me and Jones, then me and Smith. Ooh, unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley tells of his last job. Had many reasons for quitting. That waiter was dumb, but he could use his hands. Yes, we'll let you carry out the dishes today for your dinner. Go to the kitchen and get a tray off the dumb waiter. All right. Message board. Me. Excuse me, do you talk? Say, if you're going to kid me, you better say goodbye to your folks. Well, I'll try this one. Do you talk? Me? Oh, no, I should say not. Not a word. You're the waiter I'm looking for. Huh? What? I finally got it off from him. He put up an awful fight. Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Gets a Chance to Earn Dinner. Waiter far from dumb. As a hunter, he's a great pool player. Shoot him quick before he flies. Aw, I got him all right. Pow! Doggone it, he ducked. Aw, shucks, he ducks every bullet I shoot. Let me show you how to fool him. Ark! Darn ya. You got him, Charley. You sure is some shot. Signed E.C. Segar. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Gives Some Advice on Shooting. Charley Makes a Karoom Shot. Circumstances alter cases. Not to be confused with an earlier comic strip with the same name that was released earlier about Charley in a suit of armor. Pie-faced Pete, the desperate pie purloiner, is that large. He must be arrested at any cost. Leave me at him, that's all I ask, Chief. Remember, not a pie, not a tart in this township is safe till he is captured. Tonight the pies may rest in peace. I have spoken. If there's anything better than a gooseberry pie, it's 2 gooseberry pies. And better than 2 is 3. And better... I'm the vice constable. I'm after the fellow who's been stealing all the pies. The other half of the panel and the one after has been torn away. But luckily, I also have version 2 of this book. It also has this comic. Well, I'm him. What are you gonna do about it? You see, we can't do nothing. You've turned state's evidence. I guess not nothing. I guess not either. Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Sure He'll Grab This Thief. Circumstances alter cases. And now for the intermission.
Here's a comparison of the first edition with version 2. Both the first edition and version 2 were 9 3/4 inches in length, while the first edition was 16 inches wide and has an orange tiger on the back with a red background. This could be seen on the company's earlier coloring books, while version 2 was 16.5 inches wide and has Charlie Chaplin in prison suit on the back.
Now we'll look at version 2 of this book. We do not know if this is the second edition, but it is the second version we'll be looking at. Inside there are some comics that are the same and others that are completely different. Their arrangement is also different. Comics that appear in this book, but also appeared in the last book, are rearranged for this version. Some comics have been removed, while others have been added. Notice that the comic inside the front cover is completely different than the one in the first edition. Untitled. I got a funny story to tell you, Uncle Wim. Are you home?
Yes, I am.
A fella meets his friend and says, "Who's that lady I saw you with last night?" He. His friend says, "That wasn't a lady, that was my wife." Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Huh? Ha 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 ha. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley. By arrangement with S&E Company. This comic also appears later in the book. In a newspaper version of this comic, it is titled, "Charley has a good story to tell Uncle." All that effort wasted. The next 2 pages are the same as in the first edition. They are the title page and the instructions. The comics after page 22 are different from the ones in the first edition. We'll look through these earlier pages quickly. Hopefully you can see how the comic's arrangement has changed. Untitled. What's the idea with the artillery, Charley? I'm going to ask Doc Dingle again to marry his daughter. I'll bet he won't get $2 out of me this time. I'll give him the biggest scare he's had in 40 years. Dingle, M.D.
From out of the house a long tube appears.
Whoa, what? The bloodthirsty old villain? That's too small of a drain pipe. Algernon better take that back and get another. You're right, Doc, you're right. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley. By arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic is titled, Charley goes around to pop the question to her father. Charley easily loses courage. Untitled. Well, Doc, here's that $20 I've been owing you for so long.
Thanks.
Now is my chance. He'll be good-natured. Say, Doctor, you know your daughter, don't you? Huh? What? Well, I want to marry her. I think she'd make me a good husband.
Have you seen her mother?
I have, and I still want to marry her. What? Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley. By arrangement with S&E Company.
An alternate version of this comic is titled, Charley takes advantage of his golden chance. Charley was very deeply in love.
Untitled. My girl, what the... Oh! Am I the first man you ever loved? The very first man. Oh, Doc, your daughter. Oh, Doc.
I know it.
They've eloped in my car.
There will never be another like her.
Never.
She's run 5,000 miles without a puncture. Whoop. And where will I find a flivver that will cost so little for gas? Air, give me air. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Cayley. By arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley sorrowfully watches his girl speed away. It was indeed a sad occasion. Untitled.
Oh, to think my fiancé eloping with the chauffeur. If there wasn't a foot of ice on the river, I'd drown myself. What's that you said? Go on, drown yourself, who cares? Yes, I mean you, looking at me. Humph, wait till I get a brick. I'll bet I'll bounce this right off your head. Next. Do you want us all to get pinched? It's all right. We'll keep an eye on him, gentle reader. Just wait till I get you, and I'll get you good. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Makes Dire Threats. Artist, a man of peace. An alternate version has the title, It's a Good Thing the Artist is a Man of Peace. This version has a copyright 1916 by the Chicago Herald, by arrangement with S&E. Untitled. Lost, one full-blooded noodle hound. Was given to young man to lead and not seen since. Reward for return. Call spinach 41144. Humph, I know right where that pup is. And say, send over right away. I got your dog located. And say, don't forget the reward. I've come about the bloomin' dog. Are you positive you have him? He's under this very roof. All right, here enclosed you have your reward. It's much obliged. Enclosed you have your dog. Whoa. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic is titled, Charley on the Trail of the Lost Pup. A fortune faces Charley. Now here's the comic that was seen earlier. Untitled. Now remember, you're here to watch and see that things are done right on this ship. Oh? Oh, bosun. Kindly explain. What's that porthole doing on the starboard side? Oh. Uncredited. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Gets Orders from the Captain. Someone made a bad mistake here. Untitled. Here, I want your opinion on this new Finnegan stew. Tell me just what you think of it. Fair, good, bad, see? You know what one guy told the cap? Said 'twasn't good. Just let me hear any guy say it. I'll transplant his nose on the back of his neck. Huh? Oh. Gee, it's great. Superb. Uncredited. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version is titled, Cook Tries to Get Charley's Opinion. Charley was in an awful stew. Untitled. You say you'd call your father if I kiss you? I certainly would. Let me see how loud you can call. Oh, Papa, come here. By golly, he didn't hear you. Hurrah! Mwah! I guess I ain't a pretty wise guy. I guess I ain't. Oh, Mary, what part of Europe did you say Paul was in now? I guess I ain't. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, Charley Meets a Bashful Maiden. Her pa couldn't well hear. Untitled. The beauty of fighting this thing is it can't hit back, and whoosh, kapow. Gee whiz, I'll get Pat the Porter to hit it. He'll pulverize himself. Say, Patrick, I'll bet you a nickel that you can't hit that bag as hard as I can. Man, I can hit that old bag harder than both of us put together. Quam! Ooh. I's a pugilistic, I is. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title, This Was Pretty Soft for Charley. A drama with a punch. Untitled. Mr. Spiffle, this is our mayor, Pro Tem. How are ya, Mr. Tim? I don't remember the name. His face has a familiar look. The mayor. I want to know if this town's most opulent plumber has got a stand for having a flat iron bounced off of his map. It's an insult to the administration. Bring in the guilty party.
Here she is.
Their eyes lock. I'll make an example. Oh, how do you do? You big brute, how dare you strike this poor little woman's flat iron with your ugly face? Huh? Ooh, Huh? Ooh. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic was titled Charley Acts as Pro Temp Mayor. Acting Mayor plays favorites. Untitled. You know, the police force and the mayor are the same man in this town. So I'm the police force too? Well, that reminds me of something. Charley knocks on the double doors of the saloon. Rap. All right, George, one for the police force too. Charley then walks away with 2 mugs in his hands. He then sets down the 2 empty mugs and rushes away.
Empty.
Say, old sport, what other offices have you got? Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version has the title New Honors Thrust Upon Charley. Charley likes his new job. Notice that Charley talks in the second panel of the newspaper version. As mayor, I'm chief of police too. Untitled. A man is being pulled out of the water by a hook. Charley on deck watches. Let me down! Don't be selfish. There are other sailors in the sea who have not been caught. The man is lowered into the water. The sailors in the water grab onto the man's legs. Charley watches from the deck. Hi, golly, some guy will suffer for this. Maybe he will, but that guy ain't gonna be me. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&A Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title Charley Gets Ready for a Rescue. Charley just escaped an awful death. Now here it is again, that first comic that we saw of Charlie Chaplin. Untitled. Such a nice little boy, and no seat for him. Come and sit on my lap, my little man. What's your name, George or Steve? Wheelie Shimph. Gee, you got a funny mustache, ain't you? Never mind that mustache, Wheelie. Never mind that. An arrow goes straight into Charlie's heart when he sees a beautiful girl. Wheelie, where's your manners? Get up and give the lady your seat. Huh? Oh, huh? What? Uncredited. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic has the title Charley Gives the Little Boy a Seat. Little Willie shows surprising lack of manners. Untitled. Put. Yow! Poor little dog, right on his tail. That's the end of him. Maybe it'd be safer after this to wear your tail in a curl.
Here's $10.
Much obliged. I'm awfully sorry I hit the dog. So am I. Wonder who owns him. Uncredited. Copyright 1915 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. An alternate version of this comic is titled Charley Witnesses an Accident. It was a sad tale all around. Untitled. I want you to take this dog for a walk. Do you know how to manage animals? Oh yes, my uncle's very fond of pets. Charley takes the dog's leash and begins walking with him. Come on, pup, don't try to hang back. Charley turns around and finds that a lion has eaten a pup. Whoa. Hey you, Charley, stop that. Can't a man let an animal out on the street without somebody trying to run the legs off on it? Charley runs away with the lion behind him. Uncredited. Copyright 1916 by J. Keeley, by arrangement with S&E Company. In an alternate version of this comic, Charley talks in panel 2. Out for a walk. This version is titled Charley Goes for a Walk with the Dog. Charley's uncle too fond of pets. The back cover of this version and all the following versions has an image of Charley with a prison uniform and a hat with lightning bolts around it. There is one other version of this book. This version is called the Michigan State University version. The contents of the MSU version on the inner pages are the same as this second version, although some of the pages have been removed. It is a shorter version with only 12 pages. Only the comics inside the front and back covers are different. This comic here shows what the inside of the front cover would look like. In the MSU version, this comic is untitled. Charlie didn't quite get the name. Charlie in a peck of trouble. Tell your boss, Mr. Papogus Noko Polopos wants to see him. Alright. Say, Mr. Popo. Wait a minute. Huh? Mr. Papogus Noko Polopos. Papogus Noko Polopos. Gee whiz, Papogus Noko Polopos. Oh. Wham! Trying to kid somebody, huh?
Why, George, what's the matter?
George, why in Sam Hill didn't you say your name was George? Unsigned. Copyright 1916 by J. Kelly. The only difference between it and the published version is that Charlie is chopped in half in the first panel, and the back cover featured the punching bag comic from earlier.
Epilogue.
Just remember, this is only one of 5 books that were released in this series. The books in this series are Charlie Chaplin's Comic Keepers, Series 1, number 315, Charlie Chaplin in the Movies, number 316, Charlie Chaplin Up in the Air, number 317, Charlie Chaplin in the Army, number 318, Charlie Chaplin's Funny Stunts, number 380, in full color. But it's about time that we leave Charlie behind, at least for a little while. As darkness descends, we put away our bowler hat, floppy shoes, cane, and toothbrush mustache. Will we ever see Chaplin again? Of course, he'll always be there in his films, brightening the day of generations to come. Oh no, it's the end!